Every day, we are bombarded by impulses, a sudden spike of anger, an endless scroll on our phones, a quiet pull towards something we know we shouldn't do. But what if you had a system to stop it cold? Feeling these urges doesn't mean your faith is weak. Islam actually considers the battle against your own desires, a struggle known in Arabic as mujahada, to be one of the highest forms of worship and self-refinement. Over the next 6 minutes, we are going to build a personalized resistance and recovery protocol. This diagram outlines the 4 specific steps we will use to confront and systematically overcome temptation. Grab a notebook or open an app on your phone right now. I want you to pick exactly one negative habit you want to defeat today. Write it down. We are going to take back control. Step 1 is the immediate interrupt. The moment an urge hits, your window to act is incredibly small. You have to break the physical and mental momentum in the first 5 seconds. Write down your first action, speaking the ta'awudh. By audibly saying, "I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed shaitan," you actively pull up a spiritual shield to block the whispering of your lower self. The Prophet taught his companions that a spiritual defense must be paired with a physical one. When temptation or anger strikes, you must abruptly change your posture. If you are standing, sit down. If you are sitting, lie down. If you are staring at a screen, literally shut the laptop and walk into another room. You are combining a spoken plea for protection with a sudden shift in your physical space. This combination short-circuits the temptation before it can fully hijack your brain. Look at the second part of our diagram. Step 2, environment. Relying purely on raw willpower is a losing battle if you remain surrounded by triggers. So we split this step into 2 distinct paths. On the first path, write down one strict guardrail you will implement today. This is the Islamic concept of blocking the pathways to sin. It means installing a website blocker, deleting an app, or completely avoiding a physical location where you know you'll slip. Look at the second path, the halal alternative. Islam does not demand that you suppress all human desire. Instead, it provides a framework for redirecting that desire into lawful, wholesome avenues. Write down a positive replacement activity next to your guardrail. Cutting out endless scrolling, schedule a walk outside, or join a local study circle. You must fill the void with something beneficial. Proactively designing your environment removes the friction of making the right choice. You make the righteous path the default option and make the sin exhausting to pursue. Next is step 3, mindset. This step activates when your environmental guardrails fail, a trigger slips through, and the battle moves entirely inside your head. Classical Islamic scholars utilize the practice of fikr, known as deep reflection. This technique forces your brain out of its impulsive, craving state and demands that you evaluate the actual consequences of your actions. In your notes, write down these 3 specific questions. Force yourself to answer them the moment an urge hits. What will this cost me? How will I feel afterwards? And would I do this right now if I knew Allah was watching? Knowing that He always is watching, answering these questions breaks the trance. It shatters the temporary illusion that the sin will bring you lasting satisfaction. This cognitive pause overrides the automatic impulse, transforming a blind reaction into a deliberate choice. Even with these shields in place, you are human. You will inevitably fall short. But succumbing to an urge once does not mean your entire system is broken. This brings us to step 4, recovery. When you slip, you do not abandon the protocol. You simply shift into the Islamic recovery process known as tawbah, or repentance. Here is the checklist. Copy down the first 2 conditions. 1. Cessation. You must immediately stop the act. 2. Remorse. You need to feel genuine sorrow for having disobeyed Allah. Next are the final 2 conditions. 3. Resolution. You make a firm, sincere intention not to return to the sin. And 4. Restitution. If your action harmed another person, you must make amends with them. Listen carefully to this. Shaitan weaponizes the guilt you feel after a sin to trap you in a cycle of despair. The despair you feel after a sin is a calculated weapon used by Shaitan to keep you paralyzed and away from Allah. But the Holy Quran gives us the ultimate reassurance. Surah Az-Zumar commands, "Say, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins." Turning back to Allah and executing this recovery checklist after a failure is just as much a spiritual victory as resisting the urge in the first place. Look at your notes. You now have a complete 4-step resistance and recovery protocol. This diagram represents your new operating system: an immediate interrupt, an environmental shield, a mental pause, and a foolproof recovery plan. Islam does not demand robotic perfection. It honors the mujtahid, the one who persistently strives, stumbles, and always returns to the door of Allah's mercy. Your job starts right now. Take the specific habit you wrote down earlier and put steps 1 and 2 to the test today. Implement your guardrail. Remember that every single moment you fight back against a temptation, you are taking a step toward your ultimate spiritual destination, becoming the soul at absolute peace. You have the tools, you have the plan. Now it's time to take back your mind and your environment. Assalamu alaikum.